What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys another episode of Pokemon Top 5, where I show you guys my top 5 Pokemon for every single type in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. If you remember in previous episodes, we've covered bug types, we've covered water types, we've covered electric types, and today, you guys can probably tell from the setting, we are going to be looking at fire types. Fire types was voted the most popular type for me to look at next, so guys, remember, if you guys want to see me look at a certain type, leave those in the comments below, and the most popular type will win. I know a lot of people want to see normal, I know a couple people want to see ice, and I know a couple people want rocks. So there's like a kind of three-way tie going on, and if you want to see any of those types or maybe something different, please leave a comment in the comments below, and let me know what type you want to see me work on in the next video. So without further ado, we're going to be looking at fire types. Now, fire types are a type that is historically in Pokemon been very good. They're the fast sweeper Pokemon. Fire types like ooze coolness. Everyone really likes fire types. A lot of people that are more casual players, when they think of what their favorite Pokemon is, it's more often than not like a fire type. Like, go ask your friends like that don't really play Pokemon or maybe only play Pokemon Go, hey, what's your favorite Pokemon? They're gonna say stuff like Charizard, Flareon, Arcanine. That's usually a lot of people's like go-to picks because fire Pokemon just appeal to a very wide variety of people. So today we're looking at the top 5 fire types, in my opinion, for competitive play in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I could probably rank their coolness factors a little bit better, but this is based on competitive play. To start things off, the way we always do it is we always go to the Pokemon box and we're going to add these one at a time, look at some natures, look at some movesets, and talk about each Pokemon's role in the team. So we're starting things off with my boy Ninetales. Peace out, Seal. Maybe you'll make it in the ice list, who knows. So yeah, we're gonna be starting off with Ninetales here. I actually think Ninetales is the 5th best fire type. Now in this game, in the meta, there's not really that many fire types. You can think of like one of the reasons why fire types aren't that great or seen that often on ladder is because Stealth Rocks is so prevalent, and not just Stealth Rocks, but Aerodactyl, and the fact that Aerodactyl, in most cases, can set up Stealth Rocks for free. And guys, remember, fire types take double damage from Stealth Rocks. They come in and take like, a quarter of their HP just upon being sent in. It's absolutely massive. Like, imagine every single fire Pokemon playing with like a quarter less HP at all times, and, realistically, not being able to switch out, because one time you're going to take 25% switching in, and then if you ever have to switch out, if you have to come back in, you're going to take even more damage. And that's not even on top of the fact that a lot of fire type moves actually deal damage back to the user. So fire types are a very like high skill Pokemon type to use in this game compared to other previous formats when they've been a lot easier to play. So we're looking at Ninetales first, and this is how I like to use Ninetales as well as all these sets. These are all my sets. You guys can choose to use them if you want, or you guys can mix it up. I'd love to hear some of your guys' sets in the comments below, but I really do think you got to use a timid Ninetales, and it doesn't necessarily have to be timid per se, but I really think you do need a speed-natured Ninetales, because Ninetales is a Pokemon who has base 100 speed, and as we've talked about in previous videos, base 100 is a very popular number. Stuff like Charizard, stuff like Zapdos, I think Moltres. What are some other popular base 100 speed mons? I mean, there's actually just like a ton of them in this game. I'm kind of having a little bit of a brain fart. Maybe you guys know some in the comments below. But there's probably like 5 or 6 very common base 100 speed Pokemon, as well as like a ton of base like 95 and 90s. And so to guarantee that you don't automatically lose to those things in the speed war, which remember is the most important war in all of Pokemon, you gotta go first. If you're not first, you're last. You gotta go first, and to do that, you have to be timid, which is a plus speed nature. But other popular natures are stuff like Modest. I've seen people use Modest because Ninetales doesn't have the most special attack. It also doesn't have like very good defense. So I've seen some people go Bold. There's not really any calcs that'll get you Bold. We're going to talk about certain calcs on certain other Pokemon to where Bold nature or just regular defense nature is going to get you a lot of value. Last but not least, you got like Calm and stuff like that. Calm's really not that bad on Ninetales because you have a pretty high base special defense. I'm pretty sure if you were like a Calm Ninetales, be able to eat like 2 special attacks. Like a Calm Ninetales would probably be able to eat like 2 Psychics from something random. I wouldn't be surprised because Ninetales has a pretty decent special defense bulk. But yeah, we're going to be going with Timid because you gotta go first. And remember, Timid lowers your attack stat. Ninetales is going to be like a setup mon / revenge KO sweeper. That's how it usually gets played. This is the moveset I like to use, and a lot of fire type Pokemon are going to have similar movesets to this, at least on my personal list, because I think movesets like this are really good. To start things off, we have Nasty Plot on here, and Nasty Plot, you've seen me talk about it before. It's going to sharply raise your special attack, and Pokemon that get Nasty Plot, Pokemon that they get moves that boost like 2 of their offensive stats, like Nasty Plot and Swords Dance. There's not that many Pokemon that can really do that in these games. You may be remembering past gens like, yeah, Nasty Plot, Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, those are dime a dozen. Like, everything gets those. Pokemon don't get that many stat boosting moves in these games. Like, even Pokemon like Persian and Alolan Persian getting Nasty Plot, you've seen the amount of damage I've been able to dish out with those Pokemon after only 1 Nasty Plot. And Ninetales is no exception. Ninetales is actually stronger than Persian. So, like, after a Nasty Plot, Ninetales is even stronger. You can see the other moves I've decided to surround itself with is actually Hypnosis. This is going to be a heart scale move. It's only 60% accuracy, and I don't just recommend sending out Ninetales and using Hypnosis. I know that's what 99% of you guys are going to do is you guys are going to send out the Ninetales and be like, cool, I'm going to use Hypnosis. Hypnosis is going to let me get a Nasty Plot, and then I'm going to win. That's not what this Hypnosis is for, and if that's how you're going to use Hypnosis, you should not use Hypnosis. You should probably use Substitute, because Substitute does a very similar role. The only reason you have Hypnosis is because Hypnosis is almost like your eject button, get out of jail free card. Like, if you're back to the wall and you need one move that can make a miracle happen that your opponent's not going to see coming, that's Hypnosis. And in this gen of Pokemon, there's not really that many Pokemon that really get like a move that can bring it back. Because, like, imagine if they got like 3 things and they're just gonna sweep you out and you're running out of Pokemon and you got a couple unlucky KOs, pop a Hypnosis, pop a Nasty Plot, and you are back in action. You're gonna revenge sweep the rest of their team, all thanks to Hypnosis. And the fact that it's 60 accuracy, that really is gonna turn a lot of players off to it. But sometimes you gotta risk it for the biscuit, and so that's why I have no Hypnosis on there. I'd say I use Hypnosis 1 out of every 5 or 6 games. If you're really ahead, Hypnosis can help you get more ahead. But if you're really ahead, it's probably just safer to go for Will-O-Wisp, which is one of the main reasons why these fire types are so unique, is because all these fire types get Will-O-Wisp. Only 85% accuracy. I wish it had the same mechanic like Toxic for poison types, to where if you're a fire type and use Will-O-Wisp, it was an automatic hit, but it's only 85%, but it's going to inflict them with a burn. And guys, remember what burn does. Burn makes it so all physical attacks used by the opponent, if they're burned, do 50% less damage. So remember how I talked about the fact that Ninetales is a really low base defense, as most fire types do? Well, technically, if you get a Will-O-Wisp on them, you can, like, fight a Gyarados, because they're going to be taking the burn damage at the end of every single turn. They're not going to be doing as much with Waterfall. It's so good, and the fact that all these fire Pokemon, and Ninetales in particular, are pretty fast means you're going to be able to Will-O-Wisp them before they can hit you. They have a Rhydon, Will-O-Wisp them, eat the Earthquake, laugh at them, and then they're totally neutered, and you can start switching to something else and use other setup, and you just sweep the game from there. It's really good. Note that I have Hypnosis and Will-O-Wisp on the same set. Don't try to use both on the same Pokemon. It's not that hard. Pick them for the right situations. Will-O-Wisp the physical attackers, Hypnosis if you're in a pinch. Other than that, just hit everything with a Flamethrower. Flamethrower 90 base, you can use stuff like Fire Blast, but Ninetales doesn't actually get any big KOs off having Fire Blast over Flamethrower. A couple other Pokemon we are going to talk about the value in having Fire Blast over Flamethrower, and I'll talk about that road when we get to it. But that is Ninetales, and we're going to talk about all the TMs things can learn at the end. I realize that fact that, like, when I look at the TMs, it shows like the whole team party. So we're gonna talk about all the TMs things can learn at the very end of the video. So guys, let me know in the comments if you guys like that better. I feel it's gonna make the whole video flow a lot easier, and it's gonna be, it's just gonna go all together, because I can talk about the fact that every Pokemon learns like Reflect. I don't have to go one at a time for that. It's going to save a lot of dead time, I think. So, we're going to go into the next Pokemon. See, it's going fast. We're moving and grooving. Next Pokemon's actually going to be Arcanine. And some of you guys are probably thinking, like, that's a wow. Arcanine, number 4? Most people would Arcanine is number 1. And, maybe not number 1, but Arcanine's really good, right? Arcanine is technically the legendary Pokemon. That's what its name is. But, yeah, we're going to go for Arcanine, and I know a lot of people run, like, an Adamant or a Jolly Arcanine. They use moves like Flare Blitz, they use Crunch, they use Play Rough, they use Superpower, they use Outrage, and that's the set that everyone wants. That's not the set that I like. You could totally use that set. That's a great set. The set that I just recommended, it is a physical Arcanine. It's a physical sweeper Arcanine. Arcanine's base 95 speed. It's pretty fast, but I like a different Arcanine set, and I'm going to take a second here to just lay the reasons before I even say my set, because you guys are going to think it's crazy, why I am qualified to talk about Arcanine. Way back when, I remember, most of you guys know I used to play VGC Regionals. I'm technically a professional player. I've been all around the country playing these Pokemon VGC tournaments. I used Arcanine, and some of you guys are thinking that's everyone used Arcanine. 2017, it was the most popular Pokemon. Well, you're right, but I'm the first person to ever top cut a regional with it. I'm the first person to ever take Arcanine to a regional Pokemon tournament, like sponsored by Nintendo, and Top Cut with that Pokemon. I did it in 2015, and so all my Arcanine sets, I actually top cut with a weakness policy Arcanine. There's a bunch of videos on this channel if you guys actually want to go back and dig up that content. All my Arcanines I've used throughout the past few years, since like 2014, 2013-ish, have been really, really like off-meta, weird stuff, but that's the type of stuff that wins games. And we're going to talk about what separates my Arcanine from the rest of the pack. Arcanines would be in a pack, right? Yeah, so remember guys, the original Arcanine most people want to use is physical. It's like Adamant or Jolly. They use stuff like Flare Blitz. They use, let's see, they use Flare Blitz. Let me see. Flare Blitz, Outrage, Superpower, Crunch, Play Rough, all those moves. Like, it's really good. It gets a ton of offensive physical attacks. Great coverage. You can totally use that set. I have no problem with that set. The main problem with that set is if you were to come in, take Stealth Rock's damage, or not, or you just use like a Flare Blitz and take a ton of recoil, you're now within KO range for literally like any move. And if you're okay with that, that's totally fine. But my Arcanine's going to be a little bit different, because remember, your opponents are going to be expecting you to use that type of Arcanine. They're going to play around that type of Arcanine. So we're going to check out what makes mine a little bit different. I'm going to talk about some calcs here. I'm using a bold Arcanine. This is a Gimme Nature that boosts your defense and lowers your attack. So one good thing, just one little thing here. You take less damage from foul play because you have less attack. That's pretty good. But yeah, so this is going to be a special Arcanine. It's a special as in a special attacker. Note that we have Heat Wave on here. Now, I don't really think you need Heat Wave. You can totally go Flamethrower here. But I have Heat Wave because I like to use this one for doubles. And guys, remember in doubles, this Pokemon, the Heat Wave hits both targets. And moves that hit both targets are really good. But in singles, you would cut Heat Wave for Flamethrower because Flamethrower has the 100 accuracy. Yeah, so we're going to be using this set here. We're going to talk about what makes Bold Arcanine so good. So Bold Arcanine has a lot more defense than like a regular Arcanine. And so let's talk about some stat calcs on regular Arcanine. Regular Arcanine gets KO'd by random Pokemon that just have Earthquake. So if your opponent has an Aerodactyl and it's using Earthquake, like you can switch in on an Earthquake, you're going to get two-shotted, 100%. If they're using like a Machamp and it uses Earthquake, it's a two-shot. It does like 55%, twice, which means you're going to get KO'd. But against a Bold Arcanine, so that was against like a Jolly or an Adamant one. Against a Bold Arcanine, the max it does is like 46, 47%. So you're actually able to live through 2 Earthquakes on Pokemon that do not stab it. Guys, remember, stab is the same type attack bonus. And remember, we also have moves like Will-O-Wisp. So even if they do stab it, let's say you switched in on Stealth Rocks. So you're at 75%. And you're going up against a Rhydon. You can eat the Earthquake without having to use Will-O-Wisp from an Adamant Rhydon. With this Bold Arcanine, you're gonna live it. You're gonna be at 3% if he does his max amount of damage, but that's ridiculous. That is absolutely crazy. The fact that you're still alive, and it's not like you're doing that much to him, but the fact that you live in general is just ridiculous. I think it just speaks wonders for the amount that this Pokemon can do. Like I said, the main reason why we're using it is because if they do not stab the Earthquake, you're going to be able to live through 3 attacks, because it's only going to do 47%, so they need 3 turns to kill you. During those 3 turns, you can go for Flamethrowers, you can go for Will-O-Wisp, which is going to make the Earthquakes even weaker. You could pop Rest, and since if you pop a Will-O-Wisp and they're using Earthquake, you can then sub, because it's going to be doing, if it does less than half, right, and then you cut that damage in half again, that means they're not going to be able to break your sub with said Earthquake. Same goes for like Gyarados Waterfall and a bunch of other stuff like that, depending on their natures. So this Pokemon is one of the few Pokemon in the game where using a very unique nature in a very niche situation can get you so much more value, and it's like such a high skill ceiling to actually be able to like notice the situations in which you can do this. But if you do know it, you're in a great spot. We're gonna talk about the rest about Arcanine's moves here. For this type of set, it's kind of like a wall. I'm playing mine like a wall. Obviously, I'm going to have Heat Wave or Flamethrower just to do residual damage. Will-O-Wisp is going to put a dot up on him, and we can use Rest every couple turns to go back up. This is a great Pokemon at derailing physical sweepers, and it's one of the best in the game. I highly recommend it. And you may be thinking, like, how is this thing only number 4? All those things you said sound so awesome. It's because the rest of the fire types in the game are really, really good at doing certain things. Like this Arcanine is like a jack of all trades. Like you can kind of just splash this Pokemon into any team and it is going to perform for you. So that's why Arcanine is just kind of like really good. But you know, the rest of the Pokemon excel in certain points. So we're moving on to the 3rd Pokemon on my list. Let me know what you guys think about that Arcanine set, because I actually think it's pretty good. We're actually moving on to the next Pokemon on my list. It's actually gonna be Rapidash. Now, I know a lot of you guys would probably switch Rapidash and Arcanine, or, you know, put Rapidash last. Like, I know a lot of you guys don't like Rapidash, but Rapidash is very, very unique in that it has a 110 base speed tiering. And guys, remember how I was talking about how important it was for Ninetales to be timid because it has 100 base? Well, you know, Rapidash is in a very similar situation where it has to be jolly or, like, naive or hasty or something like that, so it can outspeed everything else that's base 110. Common base 10 Pokemon are things like Raichu, Alolan Raichu, Gengar. You know, you really want to be able to not go second versus those, and then not only do that, but outspeed everything else that's slower than you. So it's like a really, really good play. Also note that, like, Jolly Rapidash is going to be able to outspeed things like Modest Starmie and Modest, also Alolan Dugtrio is 110. That's amazing. But yeah, you're going to be able to outspeed, like, Modest Starmies, Modest Alakazams. You may be thinking like that, so why do you even care? Why do you care about outspeeding Alakazams and Starmies if they're not made correctly? Yo, we got Mega Horn. Like, we got Mega Horn, boys. It is 120 base. That is so much damage, and Rapidash ain't no slouch in, like, the physical attack department. You can see mine's, like, a really, really low level. I think it's only, like, level 22, but it has all the moves that it needs. Note that I'm using the same Hypnosis Will-O-Wisp core. I think this really, really does work. Rapidash gets a bunch of really cool hard skill moves, though. It gets moves like Quick Attack, and Quick Attack's generally really underrated. You can't put a price on going first. Like, let's say they have just that sliver HP. Go for a 40 base Quick Attack, just finish them off nice and cute. Also note that Quick Attack can mess with people that are going for, like, Sucker Punches. Like, if I were to Quick Attack, and if you're using a Pokemon that's, like, slower than me, and you go for Sucker Punch, but I use Quick Attack, your Sucker Punch is going to fail. So situations like that, Quick Attack's actually pretty good. But, and also, it gets Horn Drill. I'm not a fan of using one-hit KO moves, but I think they're hilarious. So yeah, Rapidash gets a bunch of really unique moves. It also gets access to, like, Poison Jab and stuff like that. There's not that many fairies in the game, and most of the fairies in the game, you're just going to want to Flare Blitz those anyways, because it's your strongest stab move. Remember, it does do a ton of recoil to you, but, like, Rapidash has exactly what it needs to succeed. Base 110 speed, just enough attack to make it work. And I just want to say, in, like, doubles, in VGC and Ultra Sun and Moon, this Pokemon, I made, like, a really cool team for it, but I couldn't actually bring it to a regional that used, like, Ally Switch Rapidash. I thought that was pretty cheeky, and no one was ever going to be prepared for that. I was going to use Ally Switch Rapidash with Kartana, but that's a story for another day. Maybe I'll bust that out sometime soon. But yeah, Rapidash is really good. It gets a lot of really good heart skill moves, just like all the other ones, but it still has that same type of playstyle where you want to go first, you want to cripple the things with Will-O-Wisp, and then you have a really good, Flare Blitz, Stab, and then Mega Horn. Mega Horn gets hits those Psychics. Flare Blitz literally hits anything else. And, you know, if it's like a ground or rock type Pokemon, you just Will-O-Wisp it and switch out. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. So yeah, we're going to be moving on to the upper echelon of the list. Moving on to numero dos. And probably a lot of you guys are thinking that I would probably have put this at number 1. Moltres is freaking busted, guys. Moltres is so good. It's very similar to Zapdos in that it is a legendary bird, but it's also 4 times weak to Stealth Rocks. Note that our Moltres is calm, and I don't really recommend calm. I think you actually want to be, like, timid or modest, and we're going to talk about the things that you get for going in those specific directions. Remember, this is a base 100 speed Pokemon, so if you're timid, you're going to be able to always outspeed Gyarados, and that's really good, because you can use Will-O-Wisp on it. But, if you're timid, a Flamethrower will not one-shot Melmetal. You'd have to be using Fire Blast. So you can either go Modest and have Flamethrower to one-shot Melmetal, or you can go, timid with Fire Blast, and that's one of the few calcs that really matters from Moltres. Note that mine's Calm, so Calm, remember, is going to be lowering your attack stat, which is unneeded on Moltres because it's like a special attacker, and it's going to be raising my specialty, and it doesn't really give me anything. This is just the one that I had from Pokemon Go. What are my Ivies? I'm actually just curious. That works. Works for me. Moltres has such high base stats that as long as your Moltres isn't something like Adamant or something, you're probably pretty good, and even if it was Adamant, yo, just use, like, Drill Peck or something to be hilarious. Anyways, yeah, so Calm, Moltres, other good natures, like I said, timid, modest, calm, bold, all of those ones that don't generally influence your special attack in a negative light are all going to be really, really good. We're going to move on to the moveset here. My moveset is Will-O-Wisp, Roost, Air Slash, Flamethrower. This is the moveset that I'm most comfortable with. If I were to switch anything, I would take out Air Slash for Substitute, because remember, Substitute and Will-O-Wisp go great together. If I Will-O-Wisp you, sometimes you're not going to have enough stats to be able to break my sub, because remember, Will-O-Wisp cuts your attack stat in half. Roost is a generally great recovery move. It's great because you're going to take a... And, you know, if you're using sub to sacrifice some of your HP, eventually they're going to switch, get a nice roost off, and you can just tick them out with Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp is going to put a dot up on him, and you can sometimes just spam a mixture of Will-O-Wisp and Roost. Sorry, Substitute and Roost, and you'll be fine. Flamethrower is a generally pretty good stab move. The main reason why I have Air Slash here, so we're going to talk about Air Slash. It's a 75 base move. It can miss. It has a 30% chance to flinch, and you can't put a price on flinching. Like, that is extreme value. That's probably the real reason why most people like it. But, it's actually super effective against Poliwrath, and I've been seeing like a lot of Poliwraths lately because it's such a good counter to things like Aerodactyl. And that's pretty much it. Like, you're not going to be air slashing Venusaurs, you're just going to flamethrower those things. Same goes for like Parasect. You don't need to do 4 times super effective with, well, both are 4 times super effective. But yeah, more often than not, if you can use Flamethrower, just use Flamethrower. Air Slash is very specific, and I've seen a lot of Poliwrath. So things like Poliwrath and sometimes Machamp, you know, just because this is super effective, that doesn't always mean you have to use it. You have things like Poliwrath that giving you problems. Air Slash is pretty good. Also, the flinch hacks are pretty good. Let me know in the comments below if you guys like Air Slash or Substitute better. There's also a couple other moves we're going to look at that it can learn in TMs. Moltres gets a lot of great moves. I've actually really like Fire Spin on it as well. Trap them, Will-O-Wisp them, and make it so they can't break your subs or they can't do any damage to you, and just like tick them out with Roost. Remember, Fire Spin makes so they can't switch. This is one of the best Pokemon actually using Fire Spin in the game. So definitely give Moltres a check if you haven't actually checked this thing out yet. It's one of the better Pokemon, one of the hidden gems, I would say. It's only a matter of time till like this is like a standard Pokemon in the metagame, if it isn't already on like, you know, the multiple battle outlets people play on. So we're gonna go on to the number 1 Pokemon. Numero uno, mi amigo. My guy. Oh, of course it's Charizard. It has to be Charizard. This is the only fire type I think that can Mega Evolve. Actually, I realized I just forgot a fire type, but it's not going to be on this list. Unfortunately, guys, Alolan Marowak's not going to be on the list. Sorry. Not this time. Maybe the Ghost list. I think there's only 4. Anyways, yeah, we're looking at Charizard here, and this is the same Charizard set you guys have seen me talk about in my Charizard team building video, where I talk about the Charizard Flex, in that this Pokemon can go either Charizard X or Charizard Y. You can Mega Evolve to gain really good defensive typing and really good offensive options, and switch between being a physical and a special attacker. That's why we're using Hasty Nature, because, again, this is another base 100 speed Pokemon. That's like the benchmark for being fast. You're either, if you're under base 100, in my personal opinion, I've been playing competitively since like 2007. If you're under base 100, you are slow. That's the rules. Like, in my opinion, like in That's' eyes, if you're under base 100, you are slow. But if you're 100 or higher, you're good. You're solid. You're fast. Think about all the things that are base 100 just in the history of the game. Like Charizard, it has wings, it goes fast. You know, Staraptor, it has wings, it goes fast. Zapdos, fast. You think of those things, you think of fast Pokemon. So base 100, you gotta go fast. Hasty's gonna be a nature that boosts that. And note that we're using Hasty over something like Timid or Jolly. The reason we're using Hasty is because, like I said, it's gonna be using physical attacks like Flare Blitz and Earthquake, but it's also going to be using Fire Blast. And the reason why we have the option to be like a mixed attacker is because sometimes you're going to want to go Charizard X, which is more predominantly a physical attacker, but I'm pretty sure it has the same base physical attack as special attack. I'm pretty sure it's just 130 in both stats. So you can go Charizard X and really optimize, gain that really good Dragon Fire defensive typing, making it so like water attacks are neutral, electrics attacks are resisted, and you know, it's generally a really good type. It makes you weak to ground, but you know, you'll be fine. And it also gives you a significant boost to your defense slot, and you know, you're cutting your defense, so it's kind of okay. But also note that like if you want to go Charizard Y and hit real hard, there's nothing that hits harder than a Fire Blast from a Charizard Y. Holy moly, this thing, like if your opponent, like I was playing this one game, and this guy led Sandslash versus my Charizard, and I'm like, I think he's gonna Earthquake me. I think he thinks I'm gonna go Charizard X, and I think he's gonna Earthquake me. It was the very first turn of the game, and I'm like, I'm gonna go Charizard Y, and I'm gonna use Fire Blast. And if I miss or I don't KO, well, he might Earthquake, he might Stealth Rocks, he might Rock Slide. We'll find out. I Mega Evolved into Charizard Y, gained my boost to special attack, and just one-shotted that Sandslash. No crit, no nothing with Fire Blast, straight up. Like, that's the type of stuff that this Mega Evolution has. Being able to one-shot a Pokemon without like super effective moves being a part of the game is absolutely ridiculous in this meta because there's no Eevees. Like, think about it. Just one-shotted it. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, think of things that are less bulky than Sandslash. Like a Primeape, deleted. A Jolteon, probably deleted. Like, everything would get deleted by the potential for you to go Charizard Y. And, you know, both Megas have their strengths. I would actually say Charizard X is going to be the better Mega, like 90% of the time. But you technically can go Fire Blast. And a lot of the time, like, let's say, you know, you're using, like, special attacks, they send out their special wall, switch to physical attacks. You got Earthquake, you got Flare Blitz, you ain't no slouch. Charizard can do so many things, and that's the reason why it's the best Pokemon. It just has so many more options to do a bunch of other cool things than all the other Pokemon in the list. Also note that it still has Roost, because it's going to be doing a ton of damage to itself by taking like Stealth Rocks damage, taking Flare Blitz damage, and when it's in Charizard X mode, it's relatively healthy. So one Roost and you are back in the game. So that is my top 5 list. The next thing we're going to be moving on to is TMs. We're going to be looking at TMs that all these wonderful Pokemon learn. And I think it's actually better, right? This totally looks better. Now I can look at all of it. So, like, nothing's learned in Blizzard. I only have to say that one time. It's pretty obvious, though. But we're going to look at Brick Break. Obviously, there's not going to be anything that we really need to Brick Break, you know, even against, like, a Kangaskhan or something. I'm thinking, like, what would you really Brick Break? Like, a Alolan Sandslash? Yo, you can just hit that with a fire attack. It's not that big of a deal. So, Ninetales can learn Calm Mind, and if you don't have the heart scales to get Nasty Plot, you can use Calm Mind. I have no problem with Calm Mind. I think Nasty Plot is just a little bit better. And the reason why is that, like, think about things that have Calm Mind. Think of, like, Alakazam, for example. Alakazam would kill for a Nasty Plot. And if you think about it like that, you'd be like, you're right, wait, Nasty Plot's probably better if the things that have Calm Mind would kill to have that instead of Calm Mind. So Calm Mind's pretty good. We're going to look at Dark Pulse, and I'm going to take a second to talk about this, because I had someone ask me this question specifically, like Dark Pulse on Ninetales, and I've had a lot of people continue to ask me about the Shadow Ball debacle that I've been talking about in my videos. So, Dark Pulse is an 80 base move. It is 80 base. Okay, so we're going to use Pokemon like Mewtwo and Alakazam as our targets, and Mew. Those things that you're going to be hitting for super effective damage. Put Gengar in there as well. So you got Gengar, Mew, Mewtwo, Alakazam. All those Pokemon take super effective damage from Dark Pulse, right? So that means if you're hitting them with the Dark Pulse, it's going to go from 80 base, it's going to double because it's super effective and go up to 160, right? So 160 base power from Ninetales, pretty weak special attack stat. That's okay. It's not going to let you KO any of them, even after Stealth Rocks. None of those Pokemon will get KO'd by the Dark Pulse. Maybe the Gengar, but I really doubt it. I almost want to say the most you can do is like 85% tops, because Ninetales is not very strong. If you have a Nasty Plot, that's a completely different deal. If you have a Nasty Plot, you're not going to need Dark Pulse. So anyways, it's a 160, which is okay. It's not bad, but, you know, it's not great either. Next we're going to talk about Flamethrower. Flamethrower, Ninetales already has. It is a 90 base move. And thanks to the same type attack bonus, the stab, if you will, it's going to go from 90 and take half of that, gets a 50% boost. So it's going to put 45 base power on top of the 90 and go up to a 135. Now, 135 isn't as strong. That's right. I never disable this. Jakery, Ashen... Thank you for the follow. That is a mouthful of a name. Holy moly. If that's you, congratulations. You are the new follower. Anyways, yeah. So, Flamethrower's a 90. Thanks to Stab, goes up to 135. And like I said, 135 is not as strong as 160. But, like I said, you're going to have to use 2 Dark Pulses to KO all of those things anyways. It's not going to get you any KOs. You're going to have to use 2 Dark Pulses anyways. And, so you're going to be doing, like, 65 to 70% twice. That's how much damage Dark Pulse is going to do. It's going to be like 70% to most of those things. It's going to do a lot less to the Mewtwo. But, you know, like Alakazam, Gengar, Mew, you're going to be doing not that much. You're going to need a 2-shot anyways. You're going to be doing anywhere from like 40 to 70%. Flamethrower, on the other hand, is going to be like a 135. It's 25 base power less, but it's still going to be doing the 2-shot potential. Like against the Gengar, the Ninetales is going to be doing over half with Flamethrower. Against the Alakazam, it's like the same thing. You're still going to be having to use 2 moves in both situations to KO the Pokemon. So in that situation, why would you ever sacrifice a move slot to something that has the base power of 80 in this game? The only situation where that's ever like a good idea is if said move is 4 times super effective. Think about other gens, you know, like hitting a Ferrothorn, for example, that would have a 4 times weakness to fire, or hitting like a Gliscor, which would have a 4 times weakness to ice, or like a Lunala, which would have a 4 times weakness to dark. In those situations, these type of moves are great, But since there's no Pokemon in this game with 4 times weakness other than like Sandslash, you know, you do not ever need to use anything that's lower than like a base 90. Because like if Dark Pulse was a base 90 move, it'd be 180, and that is enough to pick up those KOs. But as it stands, 80 is just a little bit too weak, and you're better off just not using it in any regard and just using 2 flamethrowers instead of using 2 dark pulses. I hope that you guys get this. Please, please, please leave a comment below if you don't. The only reason I'm taking this long to like explain this is because I have to explain this in like comment form like 4 times a day, and I'm done. I hope you get it, but I will still help you out if you don't. So that's my argument on Dark Pulse. Hopefully you guys agree. Let me know in the comments below. Drill Run. Rapidash can learn Drill Run. Like, it totally gets it. Why didn't I have Drill Run on this thing? Holy moly. I forgot about it, actually. Let's see, what do we want to take out? It's probably Hypnosis, actually. I think I'm going to take Hypnosis out. That looks right. Yeah, it's Hypnosis. Yep, Peace Hypnosis. Peace. Drill Run's better, guys. Being able to hit other fire types is pretty good. Being able to hit those electric types and not take recoil from the flare blitz is pretty good. See, that's one of the reasons why we go. Check out this TM section. Drill Run, easy. We take this all the way to the bank. Dragon Pulse. Note that Arcanine can learn Dragon Pulse. In that situation, sometimes you want to be like, your special Arcanine can use Dragon Pulse. It's very similar to the reasons why you're not going to use Dark Pulse. It's an 85. It's a little bit stronger. But think about the things you're hitting super effective for. Think about it being its best. You're hitting like Dragonite, Charizard X, and like, what is it, like a Alolan Executor. If those Pokemon are problems for you, yeah, you could totally use Dragon Pulse, but I don't really recommend it. Other than that, Dig's not great. A couple Pokemon can learn it. Nothing learns D-Gleam. Charizard learns Earthquake. The only thing that can get it learns it. Ground-type attacks are pretty good on Fire Pokemon because it lets you fight the other Fire Pokemon. All of them can learn Fire Blast. Like I said, the only one that really needs Fire Blast in a specific matchup are Pokemon like Moltres, and note that I already have it on my Charizard because it lets us one-shot things it wouldn't normally be able to one-shot. Fire Punch is pretty good. Some people like to use that on Charizard X over Flare Blitz, but I actually haven't looked at the calcs for that, so I'm going to say if you think Fire Punch is better on Charizard X, let me know how that's working for you. Leave a comment below. I'd actually be really interested in hearing the calcs you guys have for Fire Punch versus Flare Blitz. Foul Play. Ninetales can learn Foul Play, but again, I don't really recommend it. It's okay, but it's not something you really need. Remember, Foul Play is going to use the target's own power to hit them, and more often than not, you can just use the Flamethrowers. It's still pretty good. Fly, oh my gosh, yeah, they got 2 flying types. They can use Fly if they really wanted to. It's not that important. Flamethrower is really good. Note that my Arcanine should most likely be using Flamethrower, but since my Arcanine's more often than not made for doubles, I have Heat Wave on it. And I really just want to show that Arcanine can still learn Heat Wave, because Heat Wave's actually a pretty unique move that not a lot of Pokemon in this game gets. Headbutt's pretty good. We're not really going to be using it. A couple of these can learn Helping Hand. Actually, only Arcanine. It's kind of weird. He has a little paw, right? I actually used to have my, when people would host the channel, it would come up with a little paw, and it would like slap like it was an Arcanine. It was pretty good. So let's see. No ice attacks. There's the Outrage. Charizard can learn it. Remember, when you go Charizard X, he gains Dragon typing, and you stab that. That's pretty good. Arcanine gets it. Again, if Dragons are a problem for you, go ahead and use Outrage Arcanine. That's hilarious. No Mega Drain. No Light Screen. If a couple of these Pokemon got Light Screen, I would totally use it. Like, it's totally viable on things like Arcanine and Rapidash, but unfortunately, they don't learn it. That would be pretty cool. Arcanine can learn Play Rough, though, if Dark types are giving you a hard time. More specifically, like, pure Dark types. Like, sometimes this can help you hit, you know, Mega Gyarados. Like, if you know they're going to be Mega Gyarados, you're going to be faster than Mega Gyarados, because if you're using the standard Sweeper Arcanine, which would have this set, you are faster, 95 base speed Arcanine. You can go for the Will-O-Wisp, neuter it, and then just go for a huge Play Rough, because Play Rough isn't going to, like, one-shot a Mega Gyarados, but you want to burn it first, and then you can Play Rough if it's super effective on its Dark typing. It's pretty good. Protect's always good on a lot of these Pokemon because they have so many dots. They have like Will-O-Wisp and things. It's always a good idea. No Psychic. It'd be really cool if Ninetales could learn Psychic, but, you know, unfortunately it can't. They can all learn Reflect, which I think is kind of lame because they all get Will-O-Wisp. And you don't really need to double up and use, like, Reflect and Will-O-Wisp. Otherwise, I think it'd be pretty cool. If you guys have sets that use Will-O-Wisp and Reflect, you know, let me know. I want to know how that stuff works out for you guys. None of these guys learn Scald. The 2 Pokemon that can learn Roost get it. You know, the Charizard can get Rock Slide. It's pretty good, but in singles, you know, you don't really need it. Maybe if it was doubles, because remember, doubles Rock Slide hits both. 30% Flinch is pretty good. Rest is pretty good. We got an Arcanine. We got Toss on Charizard. I like the Charizard can learn the Toss, because, like, in Pokken, I play a lot of Charizard, and Seismic Toss is, like, its best move. And in the anime, it wasn't like Seismic Toss Charizard's, like, best move, so it's really cool that he can still learn it. Nothing's going boom here. Thank goodness nothing learned Shadow Ball. I don't want to talk about that again. Sludge Bomb is a little bit different. Nothing can learn it, but remember, Sludge Bomb's a 90. So, like, the moves that are a 90 base have, like, arguments to be made for them actually being usable, like I said. Superpower, again, Arcanine can learn it if you want to go with that physical Arcanine. Substitute's good on pretty much every single Pokemon. It's like one of the best moves in the game. If you ever know your opponents are going to switch, pop a sub, break the wrist, walk away, you're golden. Stealth Rock, obviously none of these things are so weak to it they can't learn it. These guys can all learn Solar Beam. And I wonder, like, what, I think it is in, like, Gen 4 that this kind of changed, and, like, Solar Beam became, like, a TM, and everything just, like, kind of learned Solar Beam. And, you know, back in the day, you used to be able to, like, set Sun with, like, things like Groudon, with things like Ninetales and its hidden ability, and or just use Sunny Day, and then you used to be able to use Solar Beam for free. There's no Sun in this game, because they took all those moves out, so you have to hardcast a Solar Beam. I was messing around memeing on people with, like, Solar Beam Rapidash in a joke game on my channel a couple days ago, and it was hilarious. It was freaking hilarious, but I do not recommend Solar Beam because it takes 2 turns. It has a 2-turn attack, and it's pretty funny. They can just switch out of it, and it's not very good. The Surf, nothing gets it. Nothing, unfortunately, learns Taunt, the best move in the game. This next move, take a guess. Which one of these Pokemon, like, place your bets. What do you think can actually learn Teleport? What do you think can learn Teleport out of all of these? If there's even one, because I know which one does. You're going to be surprised. It's gonna blow you away. I'm going to it. 3, 2, 1. It's Arcanine. Yeah, Arcanine learns Teleport. I actually thought about having this on Arcanine set. Like, I really did think about it, because you don't actually need the substitute. And like I said, Arcanine's great at soaking damage. Switch in the Arcanine, you have a great base speed, you know, pop a Will-O-Wisp, and then just soak the damage from the next turn, and then teleport out safely. It's probably one of the most underrated teleport users in the game, and if you guys are looking for unique Pokemon to use teleport with, this is perfect. Like, in a situation, you send out the Arcanine, right? Use Will-O-Wisp to cripple their physical attacker, right? Make it so their physical attacker can't really do that much. And then next turn, either they're going to switch, or they're just going to be stubborn and stay in and try and, like, finish you off in, like, 2 or 3 turns. Well, pop a teleport. If they switch, well, they switched first. You're reacting to their switch. You switch to the thing that punishes that. If you already have Rocks up, that's forcing them to switch 2 or 3 times. Or, you know, they attacked you and they're being stubborn, but they're already Will-O-Wisp, so they're not doing any damage. And then you go out to a Pokemon like Alakazam, or like, you know, like a Ninetales, maybe not Ninetales, the same type as Arcanine, but, you know, some sort of setup mod, maybe like an Omastar, get a free Shell Smash, and it's all thanks to, like, this unique user of Teleport, because he gets the crippling move of Will-O-Wisp. So, like, maybe Teleport Arcanine might actually be, like, incredibly value. Who knows? I'd really like to see it. Maybe one of you guys will use it. Maybe I'll use it, because that sounds like busted. It sounds busted the way I explained it, right? It sounds pretty busted. So Thunderbolt, nothing's learning that. Nothing's learning next Scizor. They all got Will-O-Wisp except for Charizard. He doesn't even need it. He just KOs everything. No U-turn on anything other than Moltres. Again, I've already said my talk in my electric video where I said I don't really think U-turn's that good. If you're not a physical attacker, I'd rather just switch correctly instead of, like, doing the 10% that you do from U-turn. I'd rather just play correctly. They can all learn Toxic. Toxic's a great move, but again, you don't want to stack Toxic with Will-O-Wisp, and then even the couple of these Pokemon that have things like Hypnosis. Toxic, unfortunate overroom. Rapidash has the Megathorn. Nothing's learning Thunder. No Thunder Wave, unfortunately. Really cool if, like, you know, some of these got Thunder Wave. I think it'd be awesome. No Waterfalls. Like I said, Rapidash does get Poison Jab. If fairies are a problem, you know, you should just be Flare Blitzing them. But, you know, maybe you don't want to take that recoil. Poison Jab's always an option, and it can, like, again, poison the target, that can kind of clash with your Will-O-Wisp. So, like, I do not recommend Poison Jab, but, like, against, like, a low and Ninetales, you can just hit that with a Flare Blitz. And the thing is, like, Poison Jab's an 80, so, like, even if it's super effective, it's only going to go to 160, versus, like, Rapidash's Flare Blitz is 120, stab goes to 180. So it's always going to be stronger to use a move that's, like, 120 stab versus, like, any 80 that's super effective. So you just don't really need it. Unfortunately, these things get bulk up. If, like, one of these mons got bulk up, it would completely change the sets. Same thing for Arcanine. I totally would recommend, like, a physical Arcanine that's jolly and adamant and so good if it got bulk up. Same thing for Rapidash, but unfortunately, none of them get it. Not even Charizard get it. So, yeah, that's pretty much all of the good TMs, and that's my top 5. Hopefully it's the same as yours, guys. Please, please, please let me know if you watched till the end of the video. Leave a comment. Every single comment helps. Every single like helps. Every single view helps. We're trying to grow the channel the best way we can. You guys know I answer every single comment, and I'm giving this my 100%. So, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know if you got to the end of the video and what type you want to see in the next video in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.